Move over, Danny Rand, because there's a new Iron Fist in town. Marvel has made some major changes in its lore, giving the man in the yellow mask a huge upgrade for the hundreds of stories to come. In this video, we'll be traveling to the lost city of K'un-Lun and talking about the new and improved Iron Fist. So let's dive right into it. First up, who'll be replacing Danny? Ever since his debut, Rand has been running around his yellow mask and green spandex battling otherworldly foes in other dimensions and New York City. But it's time to hang up the suit and pass it on to the former Swordmaster, Lin Lie. From now on, Danny will now be mentoring his new student in his next adventures. And since we're talking about the comics, you better get used to this new change. These heroes existed before some of us were even born. Think of it like Batman and Robin, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, or even Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson. The Iron Fists will be joining the list of famous dynamic duos in the superhero universe. You must be wondering what events led to a shift in titles. Well, the easy answer to that would be to read the comics. But starting those can be very overwhelming, so let's dive into the comic universe and explain the new Immortal Dragon and how the two met. Let's look at Lin's backstory. Lin Lie was born and raised in the city of Shanghai and was bestowed a magical sword upon him by his father, who left with his brother, Lin Feng. A year later, Lin encounters his first demon when a delivery man sends him a package containing a puzzle, which upon solving reveals a red orb. The presence of this orb transformed the innocent-looking mailman into a violent demon. Lin was saved when the sword moved on its own and attacked the demon as Ji Shuang entered the scene. Of course, all this was confusing for our young hero-to-be, and so to give him answers, Ji stabbed Lin with his own sword. This act gave Lin a series of visions, sort of how Doctor Strange was sent into the mirror dimension, and showed him the Huaxia defeating Qi Yu in 3000 BC, revealing that the sword was actually the sword of Fu Zi. Shuang then told the confused boy that he was a descendant of Fu Ji, an ancestor of one of the legendary three sovereigns of China. The swordman then crosses paths with Baron Mardo, Doctor Strange, and his long-lost brother Fang, who was given demon powers to fight for his clan. Lin's powers include divine empowerment, mystic energy manipulation, enhanced strength, and a very cool sword. All caught up with this new character? Right, let's look at the events of how he became the new Iron Fist. Following up with the two Iron Fists meeting. The two heroes first met when Lin was on a quest to find the remaining shards of his broken sword of Fu Ji, but we'll get into that story in a bit. The young hero encountered Danny in an antique shop to find one of the last pieces that were preserved by the OG Iron Fist himself. When Rand asked about Lie's background, he was brushed off by a portal to K'un-Lun. Fast forward to another event. A powerless Danny was held captive by a group of demons and was saved by his debuting successor. The free prisoner made it his mission to find his savior and train him to be the best Iron Fist there has ever been. Danny approached the future Fist several times and gave him his offer, but was always rejected because Lin felt like he wasn't prepared to hold such a huge responsibility with the power of the dragon. Once he found a balance between the swordsman and the Iron Fist, he accepted his future master's offer and will now embark on the tremendous journey to discovering his potential. Now for the events that changed everything. In a battle against the demonic Kamihu, Lin was on a mission to assist White Fox, only to be met with a disastrous end. At the time, Lie's go-to weapon was his powerful sword, but when it was locked with the jaws of the demon he was facing, it shattered into bits and pieces. The shocked swordsman was then thrown into a ravine where his body was never found. The only thing saved by the agents of Atlas and the Tiger Division was a shard of his sword, which was to be retrieved in the near future by Danny's successor. Lie's body was washed ashore outside of K'un-Lun. This was perfect timing because just then Xiao Lo, the dragon that bestows every generation's Iron Fist with their powers, had just hatched from his egg. In order to save Lie's life, Xiao Lo granted the lifeless body his chi, giving him the title of Iron Fist. But as compared to his predecessors, the process of being crowned the Immortal Warrior was quite different, because in the last 66 times, the person chosen was supposed to defeat the dragon in battle. This was one of the issues faced by the now revived Lie, who thought that because he didn't go through the tradition, he wasn't cut out to be a warrior. Turns out, another Iron Fist by the name of Wu Aoshi didn't go through the same procedure either, which cheered the new Immortal Weapon up a bit. Lastly, what does this mean for the future of the character? Traditions aside, the new Iron Fist looks pretty cool, especially when he had found all the shards to his broken sword and used it in battle, along with his flaming fists. Just flipping through those pages was a surreal experience for every Marvel fan. It should be known that Danny isn't the only mentor for the young Padawan, because during his journey in the ongoing comic run, he's been helped out by many more warriors, including the dragon Xiao Lao himself. Spoilers ahead, so if you're thinking about reading the new miniseries, watch at your own risk. Towards the end of the run, the new Iron Fist loses the city of K'un-Lun to his evil brother Lin Feng. Even though Xiao Lo comforts the student with his defeat, telling him that he's still worthy, Danny Rand had a long and wild run being a very different Iron Fist than his predecessors and stories we're familiar with. But it seems like his journey has come to an end. It's time for a very new, interesting character to take the mantle and be taught by a professional with a lot of experience in the job. So what are you waiting for? Grab those issues of the new Iron Fist miniseries from your nearby comic stores and enjoy the story for yourself. Other news. First, this Defenders member still hasn't made his MCU debut. It's been a while since She-Hulk teased the return of The Man Without Fear, where Charlie Cox will be reprising his role as the one and only Matt Murdock. We've gotten a glimpse of Daredevil in a scene from one of the clips released before the show's premiere, and back in episode 5, his new yellow cowl was shown, leaving fans at the brink of going insane. Where is he? We just want one scene of him back in action. In the latest episode of Attorney at Law, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen was nowhere to be found, which poses a problem for how they'll be introducing the character, that is, if they even plan on doing so. There are just 2 episodes left of the season, and in Jen's recent trip to Abomination's wellness retreat, there was no sign of a blind lawyer nor a devil doing parkour on rooftops. So this means that Daredevil will either get a 2-part arc in the last 2 episodes, or they'll just give him a cameo in the season finale. Whatever the case may be, fans are growing impatient because they're already uneasy with the fact that the entire Netflix show isn't canon to lore anymore. Will Murdock finally appear in the next episode? Only time will tell. Next, we're getting a movie instead of a series. Don Cheadle was set to reprise his role as War Machine in the upcoming Disney Plus show called Armor Wars. But get this, Marvel has announced that they're redeveloping it into a movie. We don't get a season of Rhodey's adventures, but a full-length film instead, which makes the shakeup concerning for the future of the MCU. Knowing that Blade's director has recently exited from his post too, Armor Wars will follow the upcoming Secret Wars series starring Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Finally, the Blade actor is very frustrated with the process. Speaking of vampire hunters, Bassem Tariq stepping down as the director isn't the only setback the film is facing. Lead actor Mahershala Ali is reportedly very dissatisfied with how things are turning out. It looks like the script is only 90 pages long, with 2 very lackluster action sequences. And knowing the general rule of each page of a script translating to a minute on film, a 90-minute feature is a very short period of time to introduce this new character, especially for Marvel's standards. With all that's happening, Blade may be one of the many problems Phase 5 will have to deal with. And that's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on a totally different Iron Fist being introduced into the MCU? Let us know in the comments below. As always, leave a like and hit that subscribe button to see more of our content. See you in the next one.